a show created by the fans for the fans. We are your home for Ohio State football coverage all year long. The Scarlet and Gray Podcast, a Network 216 production. Live weekdays on the Network 216 YouTube channel. Send us all your questions and comments on Twitter at @VSG_podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Tyler Johnson, Jordan Dalton, and Nick Leisure.
Good afternoon, Buckeye fans. We are live for this one. This is a rare, I would say, emergency episode here on the Scarlet and Gray Podcast. There's big news down from the Big Ten on the University of Michigan, which we're going to get to in a second. As a reminder, be sure, if you would, just drop a like onto the video. Subscribe if you're brand new to Network 216. Just so happened we were available in order to do this. Quick episode here. As a reminder, also Scarlet and Gray Podcast and Network 216 is proud to be a partner of Homage Athletic Apparel. So make sure you guys check out homage.com. JD, we're going to get right down into it. Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh has been suspended by the Big Ten for the rest of the season. He will not be allowed to coach. That is really the only punishment that has been handed down. So first off, man, because I have quite some very strong feelings about this. What are your thoughts on this punishment by the Big Ten? I know they said that there could be more to come based on new evidence they get, but what are your thoughts?
It seems like it seems like the Big Ten is trying to do something without doing anything until the NCAA finishes their investigation. We had talked about it earlier of what we thought the punishment would be. And we thought he would be suspended for the rest of the regular season. That was our guess. Just chatting about it this morning. But this is like, you're not really like, he's still coaching. He's still involved with the team. I don't even know. They say you can't be on the sideline. So can he be in the press box? That's like
that's a good question. I guess we'll find that out because they didn't really clarify that. They might try to put him in the press box.
He might just be coaching from the press box. Like, what does that even do? Like, is that even a punishment? So I think it was them trying to do something without doing anything. If that. And I understand the whole thing of them overstepping. Like, you don't want to do something that affects Michigan's season so drastically, and then the NCAA comes back with their investigation, and they determine Michigan wasn't really at fault. It was more the rogue staffer thing, and they don't really punish Michigan, and then you just ban Michigan's head coach for the last 3 games. They end up losing to Penn State or Ohio State, and then it just kind of looks bad on the Big Ten. So that's where I could see it from the Big Ten side. Like, you don't want to overstep, but you also want to do something. But this doesn't seem enough. I mean, in the whole thing with like the NCAA investigation, and then Michigan's response was, hey, we believe that Michigan is innocent or whatever, and that there's not enough evidence. I mean, there's pretty good evidence that they were breaking the rules. Like, I don't care if you say like every team scouts signs, like, sure, like we've already established that fact. Every team does it. But the way that you were going about it was against the rules. It wasn't against the Big Ten rules, but that's where the sportsmanship at blanket policy comes in, and that's what they're being punished under, is the sportsmanship rule. So I get the frustration from both sides, but I think if anything, he should have been suspended 2 games without contact from the team. Like, yeah. The minimum that the Big Ten commissioner can do without sending it to the board, because I think there is a stipulation that over 2 games, over $10,000, the Big Ten board, or I think it's like the group of athletic directors at each school, has to agree upon that punishment. But the Big Ten commissioner can, on his own, punish up to 2 games and $10,000. So this seems like a lot less than what that is. That this seems not like less than 2 games suspension. This is more of a, hey, like slap on the wrist. We know that you did something illegal, but not per the Big Ten rules. So here's a little slap on the wrist.
Dude, here's where I'm at with this. Like, because I know that this sets a precedent for the Big Ten commissioner, and who knows what could come down the pipeline from this. The reason that I am kind of irritated with this whole thing is because, to me, this is really nothing. And the reason I say that is Jim Harbaugh is being suspended, okay, like, and as he should be. At the same time, how can you justify Michigan, if they make the college football playoff, putting them in? Like, how can you do that based off what we know from this, and the fact that they were even doing it sounds like this year as well, and plan to do it more this year as well? How can you justify with integrity letting them be in the college football playoff if they get there? And then let's say hypothetically, JD, Michigan even wins a national title. Okay, let's put that out there. Is it illegitimate if they win it then? Because that's the other thing. These guys have known they've cheated. Like, there's no way around it. They did. And the Big Ten also came out and said that we are imposing this even though we do not have evidence that Jim Harbaugh was knew about this situation. Are you kidding? You're the head football coach, and there's pictures of Connor Stallions next to you on the sideline, and right here. And you're saying there's no way Jim Harbaugh didn't know about this? That's where I have a problem with this, because I get it. It sets a bad precedent if the Big Ten handles this and puts way too much of a punishment on Michigan. And there's a good chance this is still going to go to court. Like, let's be honest. That's probably what the next step is. But at the same time, man, like, this doesn't punish the entire team. It punishes Jim Harbaugh. That's all it really does. And Jim Harbaugh is going to go to the NFL anyway. So what does he care? This doesn't punish the entire team. And the team knew what was going on, okay? It's pretty obvious. There's video of them from last year's Ohio State game getting calls in when they know exactly what play is coming. These players know what's going on. It's not just Harbaugh that needs punished here. It's the entire team. And this doesn't do that, I don't feel like.
I saw it was an interesting point brought up about that specific video where they see the signal on the sidelines. All the coaches are pointing up as if it's a pass. One of the it was like a really funny point, but it was also kind of valid. It's like, what if Michigan believed that their coaching staff was like that good? Like, they believed that like these guys were scouting like legitimately. They were so good at picking up signals, and that was like the end of the line for the players. Like, and I could totally see that being the case where like these players just believe that their coaching staff is legit and like they're doing the dirty work, They're doing like the hard work to like put them in a successful position on defense. In reality, you know, they're going to games, they're deciphering codes that are legally obtained from these videos. And one of the things so what leaked also with this this news was the notice of the punishment from the Big Ten. And one of the things that was stated in there was how they were obtaining in their, so they got a spreadsheet with all of the schedule for this season and all of the games that they were going to be attending throughout the year, with money allotments, who to contact for different areas. So if the game's in Ohio, this is who you call to go to the game. If the game's in California, this is who you call to go to the game. That was number one on that document that the Big Ten notified Michigan of punishment. That, I think, in itself is taking it too far. And I don't think sign stealing should be banned. And I think we're going to get away from it with technology anyways. I think this year the NCAA is trialing the in-helmet mics during the bowl season.
I did see that, which was interesting.
So I think they are I think this is kind of like hey, let's advance our technology just a little bit, so this doesn't become an issue anymore. So I think they're going to get away from the sign stealing thing. I don't really think sign stealing is the issue. I think breaking the rules, going way overboard with how you're proceeding on obtaining this information, that's where the whole issue stems from. And then to your point, the whole reason Harbaugh is even being punished in the first place, let's say he doesn't even, like, the reports of him knowing or not knowing are true. Like, so like, let's say he had no idea that they were doing this. That's an issue.
First off, do you believe that?
I don't believe it at all. I think
that's what I was curious on. Okay.
I think that's extremely negligent for not even a Division I, but like a Division I at one of the most prestigious universities in football, to not know what's going on in your program with your, even if it's a staffer. Like, you're the guy that hired him, right? Like, it had to be vetted for him to be on your staff. Like, so you're responsible for that guy, whether you know or not. And I think that's why there's even a punishment, right? That's even why Harbaugh's being punished for this, is because it's his program. He is the face of the franchise. He's the guy that they are paying millions of dollars a year. He's been the head coach for 6 seasons. Like he's responsible for his staff. So the whole reason he's even being punished is because it's his team. And you can't tell me that one rogue staffer, blah, 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 like, we shouldn't be punished for this. Like, the guy's already not even getting paid. Like, he's already fired. Like, he resigned, but he stepped down. Hey, you need to take a leave. Like, you're gone.
Yeah.
So,
like, the polite way to say that you're out, you're gone.
Exactly. And so, like, to say like, oh, you should just punish the guy, like, he's punished, he's gone, he's not working for Michigan anymore. But that there's just like so many things that happened that I think this punishment is not going to be the last of the punishments. But I think the Big Ten just views it as like, hey, we have to do something, and this is the least amount of something that we can do, where we're at least saying we did something. Where this is the smallest punishment that we can enforce without actually enforcing a punishment that is going to be detrimental to Michigan's football team.
Yeah. And Frank says he got off too easy. Also, Ronnie says, yeah, slap on the wrist is all. It's really what it feels like. It's the Big Ten technically did something. It's just nothing that, again, is that significant. I
will say, Michigan loses one of these 3 games, and every Michigan fan is going to be crying that their head coach wasn't on the sideline. Every Michigan fan is going to use this as an excuse as to why they lost the football game. But that being said, on the other hand, if they went out and their head coach wasn't on the sideline, like, props to them. Like, they overcame a lot of adversity and, got it done. But at the same time, they also cheated this year as well. So
yeah, it's nuts.
The crazy thing is, they have such a good football team that this, like, shouldn't even have been a thing. Like, they could have won without the cheating.
You know what's crazy, JD? Has there ever been a head coach in college sports that's been suspended twice in the same year?
Has there ever been?
I don't think. That's what I'm saying. I don't think there has been.
I think the only reason he hasn't been fired is because they've been winning.
Michigan fans are already like saying the Big Ten's a spineless organization. I hope Michigan releases all the dirt they have on them. Okay.
I mean, they would have already done it by now if they had anything, to be honest.
Exactly. And listen, what's pathetic more than anything with this, when your defense is, well, a couple of these teams, they stole our signs, so that's why we did. Dude, if that's your defense, which is pretty much what it was, you're completely guilty right there. So it's wild to me. I mean, I know we're going to break this down a lot more on Monday, of course, but I just think, again, you did enough for people to say, okay, the Big Ten at least did something. I think the real question comes now. We're still a ways away, but what's the penalty going to be from the NCAA now? Because something's coming from, and it'll be a year, but something will come down from the NCAA because
I don't think they're going to take this as a valid punishment. Like you've seen it in the past where either teams, Michigan actually had to do it. They actually imposed the sanction on Harbaugh earlier this year. So the Michigan was the one that stepped up and said, hey, we're going to suspend Harbaugh for the first 4 games, blah, blah, blah. And that was to get ahead of the punishment from the Big Ten or the NCAA. So for a fact that this punishment from the Big Ten is not going to be anywhere near sufficient enough to be like, all right, they punished Michigan a good enough. Like, that's a good enough punishment. Like, I don't see that happening at all with this. I think if we see a punishment from the NCAA, it's not going to be for a while. It'll be maybe in the off season, maybe right before next season. I think it'll take them a good amount to do an official punishment. But like you said, Harbaugh might already be gone at that point.
I think it's fair that he will be, and I would put, if I could bet on him going to the NFL, I'd say it's pretty high.
Well,
he can say whatever he wants about a contract extension being tabled or almost signed or whatever the case may be. He's not staying. Come on, he ain't staying.
They're not going to sign a contract extension if this investigation is still ongoing, because this could be a whole season of him suspended off the team. This could be vacated wins. This could be bowl ban, like all that. So and that's like potential. I don't want to we are speculating, but I don't want to put anything out there. There still has to be like due process, but I don't think it's good. I don't think whatever the NCAA is going to come up with is going to be like, Michigan fans are going to be like, yeah, I agree with that. Unless they just say like, I don't think it was that big a deal, which I don't think they would have. They would have already said like, there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The thing too that also and we'll wrap it up here. But the thing that also just bothers me, dude, is okay, he can't be on the sideline during games. Big whoop. He can lead practice. He can practice all week, but when you get to the game, he can't be on the sideline. Like that's absolutely nothing. If you're gonna suspend him for all of it. And I had an interesting comment I wanted to read you. Of course, he's a Michigan fan. Saying that regardless of how you feel about Michigan, the athletes who line pockets with cash, it puts in quote parentheses, deserve better than this being dropped on them less than 24 hours from kickoff.
I don't care.
I don't care either, dude.
That should have nothing to do with what's going on with Michigan. Like they shouldn't have cheated. If I don't know. I don't understand how any of that comes into play. It's already going to be a distraction in your team and your organization and your college and everybody. It's already a distraction. Who cares when they drop the punishment? It's coming. You've been notified. You cannot use and that's the thing. They have just been using every excuse in the book. One thing I do, one of the Big Ten's responses that they released was there's a little sentence out of there talking about Michigan's 10-page response. And the Big Ten said, notably, the university's November 8th response does not deny that the impermissible scheme occurred. Instead, it offers only procedural and technical arguments designed to delay accountability. So out of all those 10 pages, TJ, I know you didn't read it, but not once do Michigan acknowledge that what they did was wrong. And I think they are just trying to get this season to happen and get that national championship, because they will accept a tainted national championship over no national championship at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And yeah, we're not going to speculate on what the NCAA will come down on. I have an idea in my head. At some point, I am going to share it on what I think is going to happen. And I could be completely wrong, just what I think is going to happen. Josh, thank you for watching us on YouTube. We're not using excuses. And, you know, it's just funny that Michigan takes no accountability for doing what they did. But it's whatever. It's fine.
I mean, if they beat us, they beat us. It's football. Like, I'm not going to sit here and make an excuse because they beat us in a football game. Like,
if they beat us, dude, fair and square, then you beat us.
Last 2 years. They beat us the last 2 years, and they beat our ass. And if you watch this show, we literally sat on this podcast and said they were the better team. So I don't want to say much on that, other than, like, we don't really – us as Ohio State fans don't make excuses. I know there's a group out there that does, but – I would say we're pretty I'm at least pretty unbiased when it comes to things. So TJ's a little biased.
I am a little biased, but at the same time, the reason that this really irritates me the most is people always want to bring up the thing that the tattoo scandal at Ohio State. That didn't affect games. That didn't affect performance of games. It's not even, it's apples and oranges, completely separate issues here. And there are Michigan fans that want to bring up, again, we're going to get more into this on Monday because I feel like I could talk for an hour on this. But the thing is, you're talking cheating, like actual stealing signs affecting games. You're talking selling memorabilia so you can get a tattoo. Okay.
Hey, don't you know those tattoos give you like 5 extra speed? They give you extra speed, extra strength.
Dude, you're killing me. That's great. That's great.
Actually tattooed all the play calls on their wrist.
Very well might have. Very well might have, obviously. And Tressel knew about it. That's the other thing. When this comes down from the NCAA, it better be a lot harder than what Ohio State got, because Tressel got a longer suspension than Harbaugh currently got.
I didn't realize that 2012 season, after they had done the investigation, I think Tressel was gone at that point.
He was.
We were banned from the national championship that year. We were wow. We had the game, the Sugar Bowl game against Arkansas that got it's no longer a victory for Ohio State. They nullified the win. And then we were not eligible for the national championship the next year. So if you want to set a precedent, or if you want to go off of something that has already been set, like, we're looking at whatever success Michigan has this year, whatever they had last year, and a bowl ban the year after. And that's just based off of our tattoo scandal. So,
like I said, we'll talk more about this, because I feel like I could just ramble on and on about this. I'm so just upset about this just because it's not enough. But hey, whatever.
But Harbaugh didn't know about it, so.
Oh, of course not. No, he didn't know what's going on at his university.
That makes everybody innocent. So.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you want to add, man, just before we wrap this up?
Nah, dude, I'm about to go to the Cary Columbus Grove Division 6 regional semifinal. Root on my Cary Blue Devils. So
nice. Enjoy.
Should be
enjoy.
Fun.
Guys, we had a lot of you tune in for this live episode here. Drop a like, please. There's a lot of you guys watching on YouTube. Just drop a like. We really would appreciate that. Subscribe if you're brand new to Network 216. Obviously, we will have your Ohio State game day preview tomorrow morning, Ohio State versus Michigan State. and then back Monday night for your regular scheduled episode of the Scarlet and Gray podcast. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys all again soon. And of course, as always, go Bucks. Michigan sucks.
Ooh.